reading this in the morning, so I'm not sure if it's gonna be loud in the background with noises and stuff, but let's just hop straight into it. Chapter 51, Leaking Chaos. I was awoken by the sound of someone knocking on the door. It was a soft knock, just barely loud enough to draw me from the embrace of sleep. Groaning softly, I rolled over and cracked my good eye open. Glancing blurrily around, warm sunlight streamed through the curtains of the open window. A gentle breeze caused them to shift slightly. I squinted to see the face of the clock above the fireplace and groaned when I saw that it was only a little after 8 in the morning. What is with these blasted ponies and not sleeping in? I growled as the soft knocking continued. Trying my best to ignore it, I rolled over again and snuggled deeper into the blankets, hoping that whoever was on the other side of the door would give up and go away. However, it was not to be. The knocking continued, growing steadily louder. Grumbling quietly to myself, I gave up and forced myself into a seated position as the mattress shifted beneath me. A low murmur came from my right, originating from within my blind spot. Turning my head, I glanced down at my bed companion. Twilight was resting beside me on her back, her wings limp by her side and her forelegs folded across her chest in a cute manner. Her mane was splayed out around her head in a disheveled halo of hair. The lavender and pink highlights mixing together, she had a small smile on her face, her ear twitching every few seconds. That's adorable. If it's Celestia and she's upset Twilight's there, I'm gonna be mad. Reading... Okay, we're not reading. Excuse me. Reaching over, I pushed some strands of her mane out of her face, causing her to hum happily. She murmured softly, her hind legs shifting beneath the sheets. I couldn't help but smile to myself as I watched her sleep, her chest rising and falling gently. The moment was ruined as the pony on the other side of the door knocked again. Twilight's ear twitched with the knock, and her smile faded slightly. Guess I should figure out who it is before they wake her, I thought as I rolled myself out of bed. Glancing around, I located my shirt lying a few feet away on the floor. Quickly scooping it up, I struggled sleepily to put it on as I shuffled to the door. Another round of knocking sounded, and I groaned softly. Whoever it is was very persistent. I leaned against the wall and cracked the door open, glancing now into the hall. As I did so, upon seeing 2 magenta eyes staring back at me, I jumped in surprise. "Good morning," Celestia chirped, giving me a warm smile. Her eyes flicked up to my hair, and she tilted her head to the side. "Don't tell me you were asleep," she said, tisking softly, eyes twinkling with mirth. "It's such a beautiful morning." Not a morning person. Celestia, you know this. I gave her a bemused look, blinking owlishly in the bright light of the hallway. I was actually looking for you yesterday," she said, her smile fading slightly. "There is something important I must talk to you about. Also," she continued, her smile turning into a smirk, "there is someone I would like you to meet." Running my hand through my hair, I gave her a confused look before shrugging my shoulders. "Sure, what the heck," I sighed, pushing the door open wider. I've got nothing better to do today." Excellent, Celestia chirped. "Now, if you just follow me," she began, but trailed off, glancing over my shoulder, her eyes widened in shock before narrowing. Her smile vanished and her lips pursed. Confused at her sudden change in demeanor, I glanced over my shoulder as well. All I saw was Twilight laying in bed, her back to the door. I stared at her for a few seconds before my eyes widened as I realized what the problem was. The conversation I had yesterday with Twilight came to my mind, and I sighed heavily. Celestia had wanted her to find her own room. Stepping out of the hall, I closed the door behind me before glancing up at Celestia, who was staring at the closed door with a cold look, her nostrils flaring. Yeah, she's mad. She told her to do it. But Max was like, "Fuck no. Don't you dare." "I told her," she muttered under her breath with a snort. Her ears flicked back and forth, and she looked like she was silently debating whether or not to burst through the door and wake Twilight. Reaching up, I placed my hand on the side of her head and pushed. There was some resistance before she turned her head and began to slowly wake off down the hall, her back stiff. "I told her," she repeated, steam practically coming out of her nose. "I know," I sighed, keeping step beside her. "She told me. But why?" "You don't control who sleeps with me," I sang, glancing sideways at her. "I do." This turns aside from Celestia, who closed her eyes, her brow furrowing. "That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about," she said softly, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "I was looking for you yesterday, but I couldn't seem to find you. Now I know why," she grimaced before opening her eyes. She glanced at me, concern clear on her face. "Are you sure you understand the severity of what she's done?" "Are you sure my sex life is any of your business?" I shot back, cocking an eyebrow. Celestia's eyes widened, and she almost stumbled, barely catching herself in time. She sputtered weakly, cheeks aflame as her ears splayed back. But she began fumbling to the right words. I just shook my head before cutting her off. "What happened between me and Twilight concerns only me and Twilight. I am fine with it." "But she raped you," Celestia said lamely. "It was not rape," I sang, glaring at her. "I am fine with what happened." Guys, I'm tripping up. Do you give her consent before the act began? She asked, her eyes narrowing. No, I signed, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't okay with what was happening. Consent does not need consent does need to be expressed and may be implied. Didn't move to stop her, so I gave consent. True. This is great. I'm very sure Celestia doesn't see it like that. Celestia snorted, shaking her head. The absence of an objection is not the same thing as consent, she argued. She held you down, prevent you from communicating properly. What if you hadn't been able to stop her, but wanted to, by your logic? That would still mean that since you didn't move to stop her, you still consented. I stopped walking and crossed my arms, giving her a deadpan look. She stopped as well, her ears playing backwards. Look, she said, speaking softly. I'm just trying to make sure that you understand the ramifications of what happened. Despite what you may believe, what Twilight did was wrong, and it could count as rape in the eyes of a court. In order for a court to count as rape, I would need to declare it as such, I sighed, my eyes narrowing. She stared at me, her mouth open slightly before sighing and shaking her head. Yeah, you can't really say shit, Celestia. Max knows law and shit, apparently. I did not know this. Well, I can see that there is no reasoning with you, she huffed. Silence filled the hall for several seconds before she continued. Very well, I should drop the issue for now, but just know that I do not approve of this. Too much can go wrong if word got out. If any of the nobles found out, they could have Twilight tried. For what? I asked, smirk slowly spreading across my face. Having sex with a human? Though most of the nobles do that anyways. They can't try her for that unless they want to get in trouble for it as well. But you aren't like our humans. But when I decided to stay in Equestria, didn't you say that I was basically an equestrian human in the eyes of the law? Yeah. Max, last chapter, pretty sure she made you a citizen. So you are a citizen here. Celestia paused mid-step, her eyes widening. She gave me an incredulous look, her mouth opening and closing wordlessly until she found her voice. Did you plan that out or just make it up on the spot? I'm the guy that took 3 fillies into a monster-infested forest, drank random potions for fun, and fought a Timberwolf Alpha twice. Do you really think I planned stuff out? I asked, my smirk vanishing. Celestia studied me for a second before smiling herself. I guess not. You got that right. Max doesn't get in trouble. That reminds me. Large Mage ordered him to get killed. Fuck, I forgot about that. Silence fell as we continued to walk, broken only by the clip-clop of Celestia's hooves. We passed by a pair of guards, both of whom stopped their patrolling and saluted Celestia as she passed. One gave me a quick nod before they continued on with their patrol. Wait. Max, good talk about your guards. Come on, good ask her about your guards. So, who's this pony we are going to see? I asked a few minutes of walking. And why do I need to see them? You will see soon enough, Celestia said, laughing softly. I gave her a bemused look, but didn't press the issue. Soon our surroundings slowly transformed into a more industrial setting. Glancing at one of the passing doors, my eyes widening when I realized where we were, the Institute for Human Research. This is where they're keeping my phone, I thought, glancing around at the metal doors. I wonder why Celestia has brought me here. We passed by a couple of more doors before Celestia finally stopped. Here we are, so she chirped, turning to look at me. Less than a door, I had the etched numbers. Institute for Human Research, B and A 334-334. Turning my gaze back to Celestia, I gave her a confused look. According to Luna, you and Twilight have been here before, just after hours, Celestia explained, her horn lighting up. The door was wrapped in a golden aura before clicking open. It was moderately dark inside, and I could hear the faint sound of movement. A curious clicking noise reached my ears. I think it's about time you met the good doctor face to face, Celestia continued, motioning towards the open door. Looking back and forth between the open door and Celestia, I chewed on the inside of my cheek for a brief moment. Then, with a shrug, I approached the door. I had only taken a couple of steps when a large taloned claw suddenly darted from the darkness and grabbed a hood of the front of my shirt. Before I had time to react, it yanked hard, pulling me into the darkened room. I yelped in shock as I was tossed bodily into a chair, nearly toppling it over. A bright light suddenly burst to life, blinding me and causing me to hiss in pain. Blinking tears from my eyes, I tried to push myself out of the chair, only to jerk back in surprise when a large, feather-covered face suddenly filled my vision. A sharp beak flashed, clicking loudly as intense amber eyes studied me closely from behind a pair of magnifying spectacles. "Who are you?" the creature squawked in a thick accent, head bobbing. It sounded male. "What are you? Who sent you? Speak up!" I stared up at it, wide-eyed, mouth agape. A low gurgle came from my throat as I tried to figure out what was going on. I could hear Celestia giggling in the background. "Bah! It doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm going with that voice. Bah! It does not matter. I will know soon enough." It crowed, jerking its head forward, quick as a flash. It reached out and grabbed my face in its talons, tilting my head and prying my mouth open. I struggled, trying to get it off of me, but it was far stronger than I was, using brute force to keep me pinned down. "Don't be such a crybaby," it said, clicking its beak. "Hold still." Suddenly, more magnifying glass Sis fell in front of its goggles, causing its eyes to grow even bigger, peering into my mouth. I made a bunch of weird clicking noises, its tongue poking out of its beak. Why do I feel like... Okay. The glasses, I feel like I've seen them before. Like, the ones that I just have magnifying glasses. Just like, chung, something like that. Wait, teeth are abnormal. Incisors cuspid, bicuspid. I can't even... Bicuspid, first molars, second molars with a crown and evidence of scarring where the third molars would be. Teeth appear in a relatively good condition, a few minor cavities, but nothing worth capping, filling, or drilling. Teeth are straight and appear to be growing nicely, although the top second molars appear to be a little shorter than the rest. Some plague build-up on both teeth and tongue. All of this was rattled off quickly and under its breath as the thing studied my mouth closely, tilting its head first one way then the other. Releasing its hold on my mouth, it allowed my jaw to close but kept my head in its talons. Large scar across the nasal bridge, damage to... Fuck. God damn it, I don't like talking. Large scar across the nasal bridge. Large scar across the nasal bridge, damage to cartilage, running from cheek to right eye. Eye is cloudy, blind due to said damage. Looks like a large blade of some kind. Surprised that you can actually breathe out of a nose afterwards. Also scarring on bottom lip on the right side. It finally released my face and I rubbed my cheek, my jaw cracking loudly, bobbing its head. The creature circled me quickly. A low roaring noise filling the air as I did so. The whole time it moved, it was chattering to itself. Skull is slightly larger than average, possibly for a larger brain. Ears are slightly smaller, brow less defined, looks older than he is, but is older than he should be. Strange scent cannot place origin, unique coloration of hair, facial hair trimmed slightly, higher quality clothing, sandaled feet. It was suddenly in front of me, its beak nearly pressed up against my nose. All the indications of the anomaly. Why is that his nickname here? Like, that's what people call him, the anomaly. It squawked loudly, its crest rising as heated air escaped its nostrils. I leaned back as far as I could, gawking at the creature with wide eyes. Silence filled the darkened room as we continued to stare at each other. The sound of soft laughter filled the air, and suddenly the room was bathed in light. Celestia stepped through the door, her eyes twinkling with mirth. Right as always, my dear friend, she said. Now then, proper introductions are in order, I think. Doctor, this is Max, otherwise known by the guards as the Anomaly. Max, this is Dr. Matt Griffin. The creature chipped happily, head tilted to the side. He's proud of his work. You could tell just by that introduction. He's proud of himself. Now that the room was illuminated and I could get a proper look at it, I realized that the creature was a large male griffin. Brown feathers covered his head and face, splashes of gray mixed in. A pair of magnifying goggles rested upon him, a black beak, enlarging his already huge eyes. He was sitting in what looked like a modified wheelchair, his right eye resting on a joystick. Wires and gears covered the chair, looking like something straight out of steampunk fantasy. A quick glance down showed why he was in said chair. His right hind leg had been completely torn off at the knee. Nothing was left but a small bald spot and a couple of large scars. Even so, due to his immense size, he was still at eye level with me, even when seated. Seeing where I was looking, the griffin waggled a stump at me. That just seems wrong. Like it? He asked, cackling loudly. Got in a fight with a human back in the Griffin Empire. He got my leg. I got a meal. He kept me fed for a good 10 and 3 days, he did. At this, I eyed him with some trepidation, scooting my chair backwards. You have to forgive the good doctor. He can be rather eccentric at times, Leslie said, moving to stand beside him. Even so, he's currently our leading expert on humans here in Canterlot. He's been studying them for most of his life. And has even written a few books on the subject. I know for a fact that you've read one. At my confused look, she smirked. You're human, and you? I and the featherheads at the publishing company couldn't even spell my name right. Matt Griffin clucked. His chest feathers puffing out. Matt Guffin. I mean, really, what kind of name is that? It was literally just rearranging your name. Like, what? My eyes widened and I glanced over at the Griffin, who was still studying me closely. This is the nutjob who wrote the book that Twilight was obsessed with for weeks. Continuing to massaging my jaw, I settled back in the seat and looked at Celestia. So, why did you bring me here? Because a good doctor here is going to help us see if we can't get rid of your chaos magic, Celestia explained. He may primarily study humans, but he's also one of our leading experts in magic as well, namely detection and removal. Aye, Matt Griffin chirped, clicking his beak, and I got just the machine to do it. Fuck. What was I about to say again? About to say something. I'm enjoying the doctor. I can't understand anything you're wait. Fuck, I just skipped a line, didn't I? This isn't gonna be too invasive, is it? I asked, clicking my lips nervously. I don't like needles. I can't understand anything you're clapping, Matt Griffin squawked, shaking his head. It's just a bunch of noise. No, Cester replied, giving me a warm smile. Nothing invasive and nothing painful, I promise. And we can stop whenever, if you wish. Well, of course, it's not invasive, Matt Griffin screeched, his crest racing. What kind of doctor would it be if all my patrons died? The mad kind? That's what. Now then, let's get started. The sooner we start, the sooner science can begin. Jerking on the joystick with his talon, his chair did a quick 180 before he rolled off towards a large machine sitting in the corner of the room. Several canes extended from the machine's body, wires running up the arms, large, strange-looking light bulbs were attached to the ends of the cranes. The top of the machine was covered in an array of antennae of various lengths. This wonderful device will allow us to see what is going on with your body in a magical sense, he called back over his shoulder as he flipped a couple of switches on the machine dashboard. I invented it back after the changeling invasion. We were able to use it to figure out if any pony had traces of changeling magic on them, or if said pony was a changeling in disguise. It was retired, however, when it was discovered that humans made better bug finders. Yeah, because apparently Equestrian humans have changeling detectors all of a sudden. As the device whirled to life, he spun back around. Right then, laddie! Your clothes! Lose them! He chirped, snapping his talons. I gave him a blank look, slowly raising an eyebrow. What? Did I stutter? He asked, not unkindly, blinking twice. Snapping his claws again, he chirped. Your clothes! You have to lose them! Machine don't work well with clothing! I am loving this character, all I gotta say. When I just continued to stand there staring at him, he huffed loudly before letting out a loud, shrill whistle. I stifled an alarm as a low buzzing filled the air in response. Two dark shapes detached themselves from the ceiling and dropped to the floor. His drones. Fuck his drones. I eyed these new creatures cautiously. They looked equine in appearance. They looked equine in appearance, although instead of fur, they had blackened skin that almost looked like a bug's shell. As they landed, insect-like wings folded beneath their carapace. I also studied them and realized that I had seen them before. Twilight had disguised herself as one for Nightmare Night. If I remember correctly, she had called them changelings, although these ones looked slightly different than Twilight had looked. Instead of blue, their eyes were blood red, as was the fur on their necks and the bands around their barrels, I asked. So, these are changelings, I asked. Indeed they are, Cecia said, watching the pair of bug ponies with a small smile on her face. The doctor's drones, as the palace's residents have taken to calling them. Yeah, they're drones, apparently. But I thought you said they attacked Canterlot, I signed. Why are they here? As I signed, one of the changelings was suddenly consumed in red fire. It surged, flaring high into the air before dissipating. As the fire died, I blinked in surprise, my eyes widening. There, standing where the changelings once had been, was me. My doppelganger blinked at me before glancing down and looking at its new body. Yeah, changelings, they can change into whatever they want. More specifically, they can change into a rock if they want to, so this is weird. Beside me, I heard Celestia giggle. Yes, changelings did attack Canterlot, she replied, as the changeling returned to its original form in a burst of flame. But these two are from a different hive. The hive that attacked Canterlot belonged to Queen Chrysalis. These two came from a hive within the Everfree Forest that was once ruled by a changeling lord by the name of King Metamorphosis. However, we believe that the hive was wiped out by a rival hive. Only 2 eggs survived. Trailing off, she motioned towards the 2 changelings with a hoof. Got them when they were just hatched, Matt Griffin squawked, wheeling his chair around. Train them young, raise them right, and they're furiously loyal. Get plenty of love, too. Most of the castle staff enjoy their presence for whatever reason, especially the mayor. Something about them being playful. A couple of troublemakers is what they are, he chirped, glaring at the pair as he snapped his beak. Oi, he said as he pointed at me. Close off now! The changelings both chirped before skittering across the floor towards me. I took a step back, raising my arms in a defensive manner. Their horns crackled with the reddish flames, and with a roar of fire I was suddenly naked. Clasping my hands over my groin, I snarled at the changelings, my eyes narrowing. They just blinked up at me, wide eyes studying me closely. As I continued to glare at them, Celestia moved to stand beside me, draping a wing over my bare shoulder, just leaning down. She whispered in my ear, Remember, this is completely voluntary on your part. Should at any time you feel threatened or comfortable, let me know and we'll leave immediately. No questions asked. We all leave immediately. No questions asked. Well, he's being forced naked. Pretty sure he's already uncomfortable. Anyways, let me just take a little quick sip. Okay, yeah. Doing the voice I was doing for the doc was really taxing on my waist. I'm already uncomfortable, I signed, trying my hardest to keep my junk covered while I did so. The only ones that looked at me right now were the changelings, Matt Griffin playing around with the machine, but I still felt a little unnerved. Their large eyes had no indication of where they were looking, but they appeared to be staring right at me with their intense gazes. What the fuck do they want? If you want, we can leave now, Cestia said, her voice low. I frowned, chewing on the inside of my cheek. Slowly, my eyes drifted to the machine the Griffin was calibrating. This will help us think of a way to get rid of the chaos magic in me, I asked, thinking back to Twilight and her strange behavior. I didn't want her to be in danger of that happening again. No guarantees, Cestia said, but it might help point us in the right direction. I continued to stare at the machine for a few seconds before sighing. Let's get this over with, I sighed, intensively stepping towards the machine. I missed my pants. The changelings followed me, sticking close to my heels like dogs. I tried to keep an eye on them, but they kept disappearing into my blind spot. Are you done clapping, Anomaly? Matt Griffin asked as I approached, glancing over his shoulder at me. When I nodded, he motioned to a raised platform in the middle of the array of lights. Don't worry, he chirped as I stepped up onto the platform. This won't hurt a bit. At least it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Isn't this... Okay, so right now he's calibrating for chaos magic. It used to be changeling magic. Okay, that's interesting. Excuse me, by the way. As I stood in the center of the lights and glanced over nervously, my hands still covering my groin, I saw Stan move to stand behind him. Matt Griffin began flicking several switches on the control panel. Turning a knob, he gave the array of switches and buttons one last look before pulling on a large lever. There was a brief pause before the machine began to vibrate, a loud whirring noise filling the air. The platform I was standing on began to shake, and I stumbled as I tried to keep my balance. My teeth rattled around in my skull, and I nearly bit my tongue. Sparks began to arch across several of the antennae. Don't worry, Matt Griffin tripped over the noise. It's all part of the procedure. We are professionals. Hey, get that out of your mouth. When the changeling glanced up, pausing its chewing on one of the cables attached to the machine. As Matt Griffin reached for it, it dropped the cable and skirted it off with a loud chirp. Yeah, speaking about playful, they can be dangerous if they aren't careful with them. But can they speak? I'm pretty sure changelings can speak, okay? Picking up the thoroughly chewed cable, Matt Griffin hooked it back up to the machine as he grumbled to himself, damnable fur-feathered travesties. Sometimes they are more trouble than they're worth. With the cable reconnected, the machine instantly calmed down, the loud whirring turning into a gentle hum. That's better, the Griffin chirped, his crest puffing up again. Now then, let us see what your magic has to say, shall we? Well, with that, he flipped the switch, and the lights turned on with a crackle, bathing me in a strange phosphorescent glow. I think that's how you say that. Phosphorescent glow. Don't know though. Yep, sometimes I need to take a breath. Interesting, Matt Griffin chirped, turning his head to the side and staring at me with only one eye. Beside him, Celeste stared at me with wide eyes. Once I glanced down at my naked body, I had to agree with him. Under the lights, my entire body was now bathed in a sickly yellow aura which wafted off of my limbs like smoke. It was highly concentrated in certain spots, like my hands and my feet, and after some tough maneuvering of my head to get a look, my neck. Weirdly enough, it also appeared to be concentrated around the bite mark that infected human had given me, the teeth marks glowing bright yellow. Wait. Does that mean the chaos magic is helping him heal that scar? Or what? That wasn't all. Around my wrists and ankles, rosy bands were burning brightly with more energy than the yellow aura. They crackled and snapped, more like electricity than smoke. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Celeste eyeing the bands with a sour look on her face. Very interesting, Matt Griffin repeated, holding himself closer to me. The pinkish residue is Twilight, Celeste replied, her tone neutral. Ah yes, Matt Griffin chirped, still eyeing my body. That would make sense. The pinkish is sparkles, and the yellow is clearly the chaos magic. I have never seen such ill-looking magic before, even from changeling. It's definitely latent, though. You can tell by the lethargic way it moves. He motioned towards the aura wafting off of me. Not latent magic, as you can see, he said, pointing towards the rosy bands around my wrist. It's much more active. It's fresh, too. Probably not more than a few days old. It also appears that the chaos magic is leaking into the outside world, just as you claimed, although it appears to be doing so at a faster rate than you originally indicated. It's bleeding faster? Celeste asked in alarm, her ears perking up. Indeed, Matt Griffin chirped. You claimed that it only affected Sparkle because her constant close proximity to him did not allow her... Wait. Okay, let me reset that. You claimed that it only affected Sparkle because her constant close proximity to him did not allow her harmonious magic to purge it over time. However, as you can see, he held his talons under the light. The tips already starting to glow within the same sickly light. It's already beginning to consolidate on me, and it hasn't even been an hour yet. Okay, it's already beginning to consolidate on me, and it hasn't been an hour yet. Well, fuck. That's bad, isn't it? That is very alarming news, Celestia murmured, her brow furrowing. Is anybody in danger? At the moment, I say no, Matt Griffin clucked, wheeling himself back as he stroked his lower beak. At the rate of the spreading, I'd estimate that a pony would have to be within 5 meters of him for well over 24 hours for it to begin to affect their mental state. Besides, simply walking away would be enough for their harmonious magic to begin to cleanse their system. Take Sparkle, for example. They probably slept in the same bed, so she'll have more exposure than anyone else. However, with how long they've been apart, she's probably already back down to a manageable level. No trouble, no harm, at least not yet. I wouldn't let this get any worse, though, especially if it's increasing. Why is it gathering around his hands and feet? Celestia asked, cocking her head to the side as she eyed me. My guess would be those rosy bands, Matt Griffin replied. Your student's magic allowed the chaos magic to flow into the outer extremities, but not back in, so it began to pool, much like blood when you tied a tourniquet around the limb. Don't know what that word was. It should return to normal levels soon, methinks. You think? Celestia asked, an eyebrow raising. This is all speculation, he replied. Never have I had to deal with something like this. Chaos magic is all theoretical, as the only creature who seems able to control it is Discord. For all I know, the chaos magic has already corrupted us all, and we just don't know it. And I don't even know if the yellow is chaos. I don't even know if the yellow is chaos magic. I'm just assuming based off what I see. It could very well be his own little magic from his own world. He doesn't have magic though. Like what? He doesn't have magic. I see, Celestia hummed, rubbing her chin with a wing. I have to talk to Luna and see if we can come up with a way to remove the magic without hurting or killing him. Well, if you do end up killing him, I'd be more than happy to take the body off your hooves, Matt Griffin chirped happily. When Celestia gave him an appalled look, he fluffed out his plumage. What? He is the first human of his kind, a rare species of human only found on other planets. His biology is different from our humans. As the tales go, he survived a bite from an infected human. Just think of what an autopsy could teach us. Plus, I'd be interested to see if he tastes different as well. He added, eyeing me with a hungry look in his eyes. Shifting uncomfortably on my feet, I lifted my hands and sighed, okay, getting really uncomfortable with the direction the conversation went. Celestia opened her mouth to speak, but froze, her eyes darting down to my now exposed nether region. Her mouth clicked shut, and her eyes widened in shock. Matt Griffin looked as well, clicking his beak loudly as his crest rose. Confused, I glanced down as well, only to inhale sharply. There, glowing around the base of my member, was a rosy circle of arcane symbols. They burned brightly against the dull yellow magic. Fuck, I forgot Twilight put a spell on his junk to make him from, squirting out too early. My, aren't you an adventurous one? Matt Griffin chuckled, his laugh sounding like a hen clucking. Oh, I'm definitely going to be talking to her about this, Celestia muttered out through clenched teeth. Fuck you, Celestia. Max doesn't want you to put nonsense on her, okay? I just covered myself again, my cheeks burning red. Right, Matt Griffin chirped, turning off the machine. As if nothing had happened, the lights flickered before dying with a low hiss, and the fluorescent cloud of visible magic around me faded from view. I've seen enough, he continued, spinning his chair in place to face me. Stroking his beak, he gave me a thoughtful look. You truly are an amazing find, Mr. Max, he said softly, his eagle-like eyes boring into mine. Chaos magic, intelligent human, advanced technology from a different world. I am curious at what else you will have to offer to us in the future. I don't know, but I want him to speak so far, because the doctor gets annoyed by the clip-clop. Like, if Max needs to come here for some other reason, don't know why, he will need to communicate somehow. So that's pissing me off. We need to get this chaos magic off of him. Twilight's magic is fine, okay? Because, yeah, that's fine, but everything else needs to get the fuck off. I gave him a confused look, but he already looked away, and he was now busy fiddling around with the machine. Celestia moved to stand beside me, leaning her head in to speak to him in a whisper. I stared at both of them for a few seconds, a small frown on my face before shrugging. Turning, I stepped down off the raised platform, wincing as my bare feet touched cold floor. I needed my clothes, I thought, repressing a shiver. I took a couple steps, only to pause, my brow furrowing as I remembered that the changelings had basically stolen my clothing. Huffing softly, I glanced around, trying to find the boogers. However, they appeared to have disappeared. I was just about to turn and ask Celestia for some help when something my peripheral vision caught my attention. Turning, I inhaled sharply in surprise when I saw Twilight standing by one of the desks watching me intently. I didn't even hear her come in. Oh no, they're being freaking playful now. She stared up at me with a small smirk and eyebrow raised. When did you get here? I asked. And how did you know where we were to begin with? Realizing that I was standing naked in front of her, I felt my cheeks heat up and I quickly covered myself. Despite what happened between us recently, it still felt kind of awkward to be completely naked in front of her. Yeah, I don't think that's Twilight. Got 2 changelings. One of her ears twitched aside, and she giggled softly. As my sudden embarrassment, she didn't answer, but instead trotted forward slowly, her tail switching back and forth. When she got close enough, she reared up on her hind legs, throwing her forelegs over my shoulders. I am so fucking... I'm pretty sure that's the changeling. Because this is how Twilight talks. Stumbling backwards a step, I instinctively placed my hands on her sides to keep her stable. I felt her shiver at my touch, and her smirk grew, her eyes becoming not hooded. Hey there, stud, she breathed before leaning forward and quickly pulling me into a kiss. Her tongue brushed gently against my lips, causing my body to stiffen and my eyes to widen. She tilted her head to the side to deepen the kiss, humming happily as she did so. Yeah, that's not Twilight, Max. That's not Twilight. You gotta be careful. After a few seconds that felt more like minutes, she broke the kiss with an audible pop. A strand of jewel connected our lips. She smacked her lips a couple of times before releasing her grip around my neck and dropping back down onto all fours. I just stood there, mouth agape and cheeks burning. What was that? Not that I'm complaining, but what? With a such look still on her face, Twilight turned and trotted off, her hips swaying back and forth, giving me a lustful grin on her over her shoulder. She flicked her tail and immediately burst into flames. I yelped as she was consumed in red fire, the flames writhing around her body like serpents. And as suddenly as it started, the fire died down, leaving behind one of the changelings. It chirped once before its horn lit up in a flash of fire. I suddenly found myself clothed again. I would be so mad right there. It chirped again before spreading its wings and taking flight, buzzing up towards the ceiling where it disappeared into the darkness. I stared up at the shadows, confused and a little flustered. The sound of footsteps behind me snapped me out of my daze, and I glanced over my shoulder. Cynthia approached me in an amused smile on her face. I think it's time for you to go, she said. Before they get too attached to you, wouldn't want Twilight to get jealous, would you? Yeah, you don't want that. You would not want that. Absentmindedly, I shook my head. I glanced up at the darkness around the ceiling before slowly making towards the door. Pausing in the doorway, I glanced back over my shoulder. Cynthia had resumed her hushed conversation with Matt Griffin, the pair of them whispering back and forth to each other. From above, a low buzzing noise could be heard, and an occasional flash of red appearing within the darkness. Yeah, let's try not to get them too attached, Max. Come on, before Twilight throws a fit. Watched them for a few more seconds. I sighed heavily and turned, exiting the room. I began to whistle tunelessly, my hands in my pockets, as I walked off down the hall, no particular destination in mind. As the human walked away, 2 dark shapes slipped from a nearby shadow, silently following after him. Oh shit! I forgot the assassination bullshit gonna happen now. All right, a little bit of drink. We're going to let's just perspective right here. Glancing over her shoulder as Max left the room, Cynthia waited until she was sure that he was gone before turning her attention back to Matt Griffin. So what do you think? Strange lad, the Griffin clucked, staring blankly ahead, a thoughtful look on his face. With how much trouble has been caused since he's arrived, I was expecting something, well, more. Despite the fact he is an intelligent human, he is disappointingly normal. With all the rumors going around the guard at the moment, you'd think he's some gallant knight in shining armor, protecting fillies from manticores, surviving a fighting ring, taking on a pack of timber wolves for a mare in distress twice, being bitten by an infected human and surviving, but to see him in person, he looks clueless to what's happening around him, like he blunders through life with no real destination in mind. That's how he is, though. Like, he has no destination. This is not his world. He's just enjoying his time there. Like, what? Not a knight in shining armor, but one of 10, Celestial commented with a small smile, which slowly faded. Do you think you can help him? She asked, her ears pressing back against her head. Sighing heavily, Matt Griffin closed his eyes, his plumage puffing up as he drummed his talons against the armrest of his chair. For several long seconds, silence filled the room, broken only by the occasional movement of a changeling far above in the darkness. Sighing again, the doctor opened his eyes and looked at Celestia. At this moment, I have no way of removing the chaos magic within the human known to us as the anomaly without causing great damage to his psyche and possible permanent mental damage. Aw, god damn it. I was hoping this was going to be easy, but no. God damn it. A crestfallen look crossed Celestia's face and her entire body seemed to droop. Nothing? She asked, a wing twitching wickedly at her side. Matt Griffin shook his head. No, I have no machinery nor device that will allow me to safely remove the magic from him, especially considering how much is inside of him. I'm sorry to say this, Princess, but you will find no help from me with this endeavor. You have to find another way. So, like, last chapter we know that Max wasn't brought here by Discord, but Discord was pushing him to save a group of some things, which I want to know why. I wonder what's Discord's thing here. Like, what is his thing? He's just in stone right now, probably just, like, dreaming about something or something. I'll talk to Luna then and see if we can't come up with another way, says Sister with a sigh. Giving the griffin a weak smile, she added, "Thank you for at least taking a look." With that said, she turned and began to make her way to the door, but stopped when Matt Griffin spoke again. "There's one more thing I need to mention before you go, my dear. What? You fighted that... What did you fight in him, boy? I'm worried about Max now. I'm worried about him. I feel bad right now." Pausing in the door, Sister glanced back and gave him a curious look. "Yes?" "I didn't want to bring it up with the boy here," Matt Griffin said softly. Oh yeah, slowly wheeling his chair around in a half circle to face her. "But there was a third type of magic present within his body, one that I could not identify." "Are you sure?" Celestia asked, her ears pricking up. "I didn't see any." "It was there," Matt Griffin said with a nod, "deep beneath the layer of chaos. It was very faint, barely visible, but I was still able to see it." "Perhaps it was from his guard," Celestia offered, a small bit of uncertainty in her voice. It was almost more of a question than a statement. "He and Major Ebony did spend a fair amount of time together." "It isn't unicorn magic," Matt Griffin said, shaking his head. "Then what kind?" "I'm not sure," the Griffin clucked, his tongue playing with the tip of his beak, "but it isn't the type of magic that concerns me for the most part. It looks as benign as the chaos magic. It's the location. Where's it located?" Celestia asked, licking her lips. Reaching up with one of his claws, Matt Griffin tapped the side of his head, all while staring at the Solar Princess. All while staring at the Solar Princess straight in the eye. "It's around his mind." Yeah, that's fine. If that magic isn't doing anything, that's the end. But that's the mind. Seriously though, if that's his mind, I'm pretty sure that is keeping him from going feral. So I'm good with that just being that magic. Anyways, thank you all guys for watching, listening, like you guys do, and I'll see you guys in the next chapter. Goodbye.
100,000 stories have filled my head as I look for the answers in what I've read, secretly waiting for my life to change, and with this transformation